All right, so welcome back for project number 3 for our wire and beads workshop. We're going to be doing a fun journal page using our wire and bead stamps and just sort of making ourselves a layout where we can do some writing and journaling in between the lines. And I thought this was really fun. I enjoyed just the process of sort of thinking of something fun and then using my acrylic paints and my journal and just a few materials to get makey and use my stamps in a fun new way. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're using today is a Strathmore visual journal. It's the kind with the brown alligator skin cover. Anyway, the paper inside is really great. It's a very nice mixed media paper. So you have your journal. You're going to want some sort of permanent black marker. So I have here an Identi pen and a Micron. You may want your Moonlight Duo in black or any color that you choose. You're going to want some golden acrylic paints. Oh, it doesn't have to be golden, but I do really like the fluid paints with this project. You're going to want some white gesso, okay? And then, let's see, just some water, paintbrush, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let me just, you're going to probably also want your white permanent, your white Sharpie, can't talk, your white water-based paint marker. This one happens to be a Sharpie. It doesn't have to be a Sharpie. All right, so let's go ahead and get to stamping. Of course, you have your wire and beads, and I did squeeze out a little bit of paint here on my palette, just a few colors. I have a couple beautiful iridescents, and I have just some rainbow colors, again, using the fluid acrylics. I'm going to go ahead and stamp using my large Wireworks U-shape stamp. And we're going to make this a little scallop across the top just so we can hang some beads down from that top border. The other great thing is that you can always use this area here to write like the date or whatever you would want for a header for your page. So that makes it kind of nice. And then you're just going to want to start stamping. Now you could either stamp some lines or you could use like, your wavy lines, whatever you want here. As you can see, I used my straight wire stamp and then I painted over the top. So I just did it really randomly, leaving myself some room in between to stamp the beads and just making myself some little lines to write on or write within. Your stamping does not need to be real crisp or perfect because we're going to end up painting quite a bit over the whole thing. I leave different size spaces to stamp within, so maybe I want to stamp a bigger bead or maybe 2 or 3 beads. Okay, so go on like that, and then you can start filling in with your beads, whatever you want to just choose different, I hate when that happens. Well, it doesn't matter, it's going to all be covered up. Anyway, you're just going to choose your different beads and stamp randomly all throughout and kind of fill it in. I have this one already done, okay, and it's already sort of set up. The other thing I do like to do is I like to take my Micron or my Identi pen, and then just give a few little sort of accent dots, and that sort of helps finish it off. And I can always do that after I'm done painting too. All right, so now this is going to be crazy, but I'm going to go ahead. This is all should be dry. I stamped this a while ago, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gesso over the whole entire thing. And what that's going to do, it's just going to knock it back a little bit because, like I said, I'm going to end up painting over the whole thing anyway. But I want to be able to see the outlines, but I don't care that I'm sort of covering it up. Now, on my sample, I painted sort of a teal color. I think on this one, I want to do a yellow. And my gesso is still wet. So if I use yellow, it's going to sort of make it a little more pastel-y, and that's okay. I actually want that. I don't want like a real dark, bright yellow. I want something very subtle. So I'm going to go ahead and mix a little gesso with just a little bit of my Dairy-Lied yellow and make it real buttery. And I don't know why I decided I wanted yellow. I just do. And I can add a little water just to make it go a little bit further. Again, because I'm not wanting it real strong or real dark yellow. I just want a little glow in the background. And I know it seems a little counterintuitive. You might be wondering why I did all my stamping first and then decided to paint over the top. And I will show you in just a couple minutes. There is a method to my madness. All right, so that's nice coverage, but I can still see all my little stamps and everything underneath. So now I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to go in, let's see, I kind of want, let me find a brush. So this, let's see, this is what I want right here. This is a filbert, and so it kind of comes to a little bit of a, you don't have to have that, but that's the one I was looking for because I want that tip to be able to sort of push up under there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of my stronger yellow now, and I'm going to sort of just give a little bit of shading up underneath all these lines. And I'm going to sort of just gradiate it out a little bit. Okay, I'm using it pretty sparingly, kind of very light-handed, and if you've worked with the golden fluid acrylic, then you know it's sort of a little translucent, so it's kind of easy to manipulate and push around. Sort of like a bad date. You can manipulate it and push it around. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so we're just going to keep layering on the colors. I want to put a little bit of that stronger yellow up in my scallops. Again, blending it out. I don't want it too strong, and I don't want a lot of brush strokes. I just want smooth transitions. Okay, and you're just going to keep on like that for your whole page, okay? It's sort of similar to what I did with the shading gray in Project 1 on the greeting cards. And all these little subtle things, I mean, you know, nobody necessarily looks at it and thinks like, wow, you know, they must have really taken a lot of time to you know, paint up underneath these things and give these little areas of interest and more pops of color. I mean, it's just, it's very subtle. It's not something you really think about when you see it, but it really makes a lot of difference. If I didn't do this and I just finished off my page, it would just look so much flatter. And I'm pushing it around a little bit with water, smoothing it out. Making my gradients smooth and okay. So now we'll go in with color. I'm going to use a smaller brush, more of a detail brush, something like this. And I'm going to go in with my paints just quickly. And I will also be using my paint marker and just I don't know if anything will come out of it. Oh, there we go. So I'm just going to start painting in all these little beads, okay? And it's not going to look like much right now. It's going to look a little messy. And I'm working kind of watery, not too wet, not too dry, sort of in between. And I'm just going to plop in some colors. And obviously, if I was just doing this for myself, you know, taking time to do my journaling, I may go a little slower. I mean, I'm still not probably going to paint in super carefully, because I'm just trying to lay in color there, but I probably would do a few more colors. Like I wouldn't, if I'm just doing this for myself, I wouldn't do everything solid. I would probably take a little more time to just spruce up my colors a little bit more. I am also going to put out a little bit more gesso here, just so I can mix if I want to change up some of my colors. All right, and don't forget you can also use your metallics. This would be a great place to use some of your golds and coppers and things like that. Would be super fun. And again, I'm just trying to move kind of quickly here, so. And as you can see, I did not paint these in perfectly. I just ran color over the tops of them. All right, so of course we want to let those dry. And now we're going to do, as soon as they're dry, we're going to do some over stamping. And it may not line up, you know, because I obviously didn't use like a stamp liner or anything like that, but it's completely okay. And you just need to decide what color that you want to use for your outlining. I used copper on this one, but I think I want to use like a dark teal on this just because I think it'll contrast nicely with the colors and the yellow on the background of the page. So of course you really wouldn't even have to stamp, you know, these underlines, but I do think it's kind of helpful to have them as a guide. But if you wanted to freehand things in after the fact, that would be okay too. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint in these lines. And again, if you want to give little cute little connector dots, you can do that, or you can do it after everything's done. And of course, you could always use a paint marker for this too if you did not want to use a brush. I mean, these little funky uneven lines do not bother me, but if you prefer them to be perfect, then you could always stamp them again. You could stamp them, or you could, you know, use a paint marker. And again, if you want to go in and do some little connector dots, it kind of makes it look a little more finished. I, right now, am going to go ahead and do my overstamping because I'm pretty sure that all my paint is dry now. And I just want to show you that it doesn't really matter if it's perfectly over or not. And even if you don't remember exactly which stamp you used or which way you stamped it, it's okay. So you're just going to do that with all of your beads. And on some of these, I cannot remember which stamp that I actually used, but it's okay because they fit together pretty well, so it shouldn't be an issue. Now me with my dirty little fingers. Oh goodness, got some grunge on here, so you can go back in and try to wipe it off with a baby wipe. Or if it's real bad, and this happens all the time because I am horrible about getting grunge on my fingers and then touching all my stuff. So sadly, I have had to figure out ways to fix that because it happens all the time. So that's okay though. Just a little gesso. Gesso is your friend. And a little bit more of that Ben's yellow. No, Dariolide. Sorry. I get them confused sometimes. And then you can just touch up as you need to. So I'm just going to gesso a couple little spots here. And I mean, honestly, it would matter more if it wasn't in a journal. If it was like something I was going to do for a print or to hang in my journal, it doesn't bother me that much. But still, you know, we want to make it look nice. And sometimes I do turn my journal pages into prints. Not that I would probably do that with this one, but you know, we don't want any grunge on there. I see I missed one here, so I'm going to go ahead and actually I missed two. That's my big Zen bead. And then you can do any little touch-ups if you want to go in and paint any details or fix little things up that may have, you know, not come out the way that you hoped. I see where I missed a couple more, and that's the thing. I probably should just take whatever stamp that I'm using and then just make sure that I got every single one, but I did not. So job hazard. All right, so now time for touching up. So I wanted to show you here, I kind of missed the mark completely, so I will just go in with a little white gesso and sort of, you know, touch up some of those areas that might be overhanging a little more than I like. And most of the time I don't really care, but if it's really glaring, then I will. And I'm going to go in now also with my white Sharpie paint marker and do some fun little dots and details and things like that. Just again, because we like to play and make things, I don't know, just get them to where we like them, where we feel like we're done. You usually know when you're feeling good about the way it's looking. And so now, like this one seems really dark to me, so I want to go in and give it a little oomph. Okay, and we can do that on some of these. Like this one has a little star in the center and I painted it pink. I didn't want it pink, so I'm gonna just went back over it with white. And if you want to give some of these some stripes or just, you know, some little pops of, I call them sparkle, because the little white dots, and you don't have to do it on every one, but I feel like it just helps them to sort of bring them to life a little bit more. And it's not anything that's, you know, super noticeable, but subtle but cute. And then if you wanted to obviously do any more actual journaling, you could use like your Identi pen would be really good if you wanted to paint, draw over the top of your acrylic. Of course, wait till it's super dry. But then you could also take your alphabet stamps and stamp, you know, whatever words that you want to put on there. Like I said, the date, the title of your page. I mean, you get the drift. Anyway, super fun. I hope that you enjoyed our projects with the wire and bead stamps, and I hope that you get makey and do a whole bunch of your own projects and that you share them with us. I thank you so much for being a part of my orbit. I love getting makey together, and I hope I will see you and your wonderful creation soon. Thank you so much. I'm Kae Pea here at the Moon and the Maker. See you soon, and hopefully I'll see your wire and beads project soon too. Bye.